Hello, Jimmy John's?
Jimmy John's here.
What took you so long?
Jimmy John's. Order online at jimmyjohns.com.
I love a man in uniform.
Now at 5:30, a woman is behind bars accused of exploitation after cops say she left her sister in a home with no water or electricity.
Details here on WKYT this morning. Also, a man convicted of burglaries in several Kentucky counties behind bars again. Laurel County officers tell us the man led constables on a chase before his arrest.
And police say a homeowner helped them to arrest a burglary suspect. We'll tell you how they did it coming up in just a few.
Tracking, alerting, protecting. This is WKYT This Morning.
Hey, good morning. Ready, set, go on your Thursday. We're glad you're along with us here on WKYT. I'm Bill Bryant.
And I'm Rebecca Smith. Ready, set, and we're going. Yay.
That's right. Off and running. Chilly out there this morning. You know,
very.
you're going to need at least a jacket as you head out, and you might want to check and be sure your bushes or your plants didn't,
Check on your little plants. Hopefully your dogs will get out and do their business outside, Micah, because sometimes they don't like the cold.
Sometimes not. I was wondering where you're going with that. Outside at this moment, frost advisory in effect. You caught me off guard with that one. Frost advisory in effect until roughly 9 a.m. for most. We're at 37 degrees in Lexington, 36 in Mount Sterling, 34 there in Somerset in Pulaski County. Y'all quit laughing. How am I supposed to do this if you're laughing back behind me? Planning out your Thursday, we have a lot of sunshine. We'll be at 58 degrees this afternoon. And that's one of those temperatures that is still on the cool side for some of you guys, and it doesn't feel that bad for others because we'll have a lot of sunshine. But those winds will be cranking up again today, 10 to 20 miles per hour throughout the night. We're already at 42 before midnight. So you know we'll be in the 30s overnight again with that frost. And it looks like that advisory will come into effect once again tomorrow morning. Now, as we go toward the weekend, here comes a big storm system. And I'll really go into further detail on that coming up in a few minutes.
Okay, we'll see you in a bit. Thank you.
We are tracking a crime alert this morning in Hamburg. That's in Lexington. Of course, police officers have arrested a would-be thief who was thwarted by the man who owned the home he burglarized.
And WKYT's Victor Puente is live from the scene where he's just arrived with a look at what's going on there. Victor, good morning.
Well, the man who chased that would-be burglar down told me that if he had thought about it, he might not have done it. But he said he was able to hold that man until police arrived. He tells me he came out to his garage to warm up his car before leaving for work. Police say he'd accidentally left his garage door open, and at some point a man snuck inside and was going through that vehicle when he came out and caught him. He told me the man took off running, and he chased after him, eventually catching him and holding him until police arrived. He says there was a bit of a scuffle, but no one was seriously hurt, and the man didn't say anything. Now, police haven't released the name of the man who was caught, but they tell us he's being charged with second-degree burglary. Live in Lexington, Victor Puente, WKYT.
All right, Victor, thank you. New this morning, a man convicted for burglaries in several Kentucky counties is now back behind bars. 44-year-old James Lopez Jr. was found guilty of burglaries in Pulaski, Lincoln, Casey, and Mercer counties back in 2013. Now he's been arrested on multiple charges stemming from a chase in Laurel County. An officer was called out to Pigeon Roost Road in Laurel County yesterday for the report of a man who was looking into windows. According to an arrest citation, when the officer showed up, the man took off in his car. The officer reported that the driver ran stoplights and cut people off along Highway 25 before crashing into a ditch and running off. Officers tell us that Lopez told police that he ran because he did not want to go back to prison.
Well, also new this morning, a man's been arrested for a violent home invasion that happened last year. 32-year-old Marcus Howard is now behind bars charged with robbery and drug trafficking. Lexington police say in January of last year, Howard and another person forced two victims inside a home on Bluebird Lane and robbed them. According to an arrest citation, Howard and the other person beat the victims, held scissors to their throats, and stole from the home. Howard is set to be arraigned later today. Well, new this morning, a Lexington woman is behind bars on charges she neglected to care for a family member.
Police say she left her sister, who could not care for herself, in a home with no water nor electricity. WKYT's Mark Barber is live from District Court with a look at the case. Mark, good morning. What can you tell us on this one?
Good morning, Bill and Rebecca. Well, I can tell you that police say that this 60-year-old woman is charged with exploiting an adult after investigators say they found her sister living in very poor conditions, depending on neighbors for food and water. According to an arrest citation, Terry Neal was her sister's caregiver. Police say after they responded to a welfare check and found her sister living in a home without food or running water, Neal was arrested at a home on Silver Maple Way. We've learned from an arrest citation that Neal's sister is blind in one eye, has limited mobility, and is not able to care for herself. Officers say that the woman told them her money was gone, so she couldn't get food or water on her own. Investigators tell us that the woman told them that she had not eaten since the day before and had been relying on neighbors for food and water. Police say the electricity to the home had just been restored. Her 60-year-old sister will be arraigned on the exploitation charges this afternoon. Now, Neal will also be arraigned later today on another case in which she's facing charges for not appearing in court on trespassing charges. Live in Lexington, Mark Barber, WKYT.
Mark, thank you. Investigators are still trying to figure out what led to a deadly crash involving a train in Scott County. That happened around 2:30 yesterday afternoon at a farm off Rogers Gap Road north of Georgetown. The Scott County Sheriff says 80-year-old Stanley Hammonds was driving a dump truck and was killed when the train hit him.
Mr. Hammonds was apparently trying to cross the tracks with a load of gravel. At this time, it would be speculation as to whether he stalled on the tracks or to whether he didn't see the train. We're not real sure.
Investigators say the train hit the passenger side of the dump truck. They say Hammonds had been driving that truck in the area for several years.
Well, Lexington police are still in the hunt for suspects in the deadly stabbing of a pizza delivery driver. Salahuddin Jitmood's murder remains unsolved. His body was found lying in a breezeway at an apartment building on Trent Circle earlier this week. Friends say Jitmood was an active member at a local mosque and that he will be missed.
At our fundraiser for the building of our mosque, he was serving food with a big smile, as he usually does.
A group of religious leaders around Lexington met yesterday to talk about ways to make the city a better place with less crime. Police are asking anyone who may know something about the case to call them there at the number on your screen.
The theft of more than $100,000 worth of bourbon from 2 Central Kentucky distilleries is still grabbing attention around the world this morning. On Tuesday, the Franklin County grand jury indicted 9 people in connection to the case. Franklin County Sheriff Pat Melton has since said that he's been hearing from media outlets around the world wanting to talk to him about the story. And bourbon industry experts say there is growing interest in Pappy Van Winkle bourbon, especially since some of it was stolen. They say a bottle of that bourbon can cost thousands of dollars.
The major headline there is that it involves Pappy Van Winkle. You know, bourbon as a whole is doing great as far as a bubbling national trend, but when you have the hot name, the hot brand of Pappy, and the sheer volume of it.
Investigators say much of the stolen bourbon will likely be destroyed after the trial, since they cannot guarantee that it is still okay to drink.
Well, police in Kent County are looking for a man they say tried to get a girl into his van. Police say the 10-year-old was walking in an Edgewood neighborhood Monday afternoon when a man in a white van drove up to her. The girl says that man told her to get inside the van because her mother had been injured. The girl did not believe him and threatened to call police. At that point, police say the man drove away. Edgewood police posted a message on Facebook warning parents. They say this is similar to an attempted luring that happened in Grant County last week, but they do not think it's related.
5:39 is the time on WKYT this morning. We have an update on a story that we first brought you yesterday. A K-9 officer shot in the line of duty in northern Kentucky is doing better this morning, an encouraging report. Here are some pictures tweeted out by Kentucky prosecutor Rob Sanders. This is Officer Ernie. Covington police say Dalian Rice shot Officer Ernie twice when the K-9 cop there tried to catch him. Rice was wanted for stabbing his mother. Rice was eventually caught a couple of hours after the shooting, and he is now facing several charges, including attempted murder of a police officer and assaulting a police service animal.
Glad to hear that dog is on the mend. Well, it is now up to a grand jury to decide if charges should be filed for the dragging death of a Laurel County dog. The Homeward Bound Animal Rescue Group says the dog's owners claim the animal was dragged down a road by accident. The owners said they didn't realize that dog had been tied to the bumper of their truck. Homeward Bound says the dog was dragged for miles before being left in a ditch off Highway 1006. The dog had to be euthanized because rescuers say his injuries were so bad his owners did not want to talk to us.
Want to check live drive traffic this morning, see what is going on out there, what you might be facing if you're heading out early on this Thursday. With a look right now at Nicholasville and Shady Lane. And as you can see, it is quiet at the moment in an area of town that we know gets very busy here shortly.
Yes, it does. And of course, continuing pothole repair. So just be patient because they're obviously trying to make those roads better after a pretty tough winter for us.
No reports of any unscheduled delays this morning. That's a good thing so far. Officer Don will be along in a few minutes and get us up to the minute.
So do you want to relive your college days, Bill?
Well,
were they your golden years?
Question for me.
I don't personally, but you know, it was all right 4 years. Hey, thanks to Canada, you can relive those college days with this high-tech beer pong table. We'll show you what sets it apart from other tables in just a few minutes. What about you, Micah?
Beer pong, no, but college days, absolutely. I'd love to go back to college. 37 degrees in Lexington, 36 in Mount Sterling. Look at Somerset. That's the cold spot. Now, as we go throughout the next 24 hours, we do it all over again tomorrow morning. When do we get rid of the cold? Have that coming up.